Bienvenidos a Dead Formats, un podcast de cine donde en cada episodio desenmascaramos películas olvidadas. Soy su comentarista Chris, y en este episodio hablaremos de Santo contra la hija de Frankenstein. Hoy me acompañan dos invitados muy especiales, los podcasters enmascarados de plata, Brantley y George. How are you guys doing tonight?
Muy bien, gracias, Chris.
You're very welcome.
Sí, me too.
Apologies to all native Spanish speakers for my accent and probably grammar. It's been a couple years since I've been in school, but yeah, George is the former host of the now defunct Best Little Horror House in Philly, and Brantley is one half of the defunct ? Horror Drafts.
I mean, kinda. We're sort of just like have been on hiatus for like a long time, but Nick and I have talked about possibly doing some more episodes. It's just we've both just been so busy, so maybe it'll come back. Keep an eye out if you want to, listen to more horror drafts.
If nothing else, come back to do a farewell episode. Just don't pod fade. Do a farewell.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah, you gotta be like me and have an extended farewell of like 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, if we ever get a live show, I might just end it right there because I'd be like, geez, I feel like we've made it. What more could we possibly do with this podcast? But you had some killer live episodes, so I strive for that sort of.
Live show was a lot of fun. Chris was there.
Nice.
Indeed,
Nice.
I was. Indeed, I was at the very same stage where Fabio Frizzi once played.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Saw the Gob Mob there. It was funny because I was seeing all these photos of them playing at these huge, beautiful theaters in places like Milwaukee and Tennessee. And then they come here and they play this little DIY theater to the point where, like, after they finished their set, I said to myself, wow, that was really good. And he was so close that he went, thank you.
That's great.
But yeah, Brantley, you've been quite a busy man recently. Second documentary film in the works, release date TBD. You've also been making the rounds on the podcast circuit. Tell the listeners a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, been making the rounds as a guest. I've been on a bunch of episodes of different things of late, and then I've been starting to make the rounds as a researcher because I've been the researcher for the With Gorley and Russ podcast for a little over 3.5 years now, and then I just recently started doing a little bit of research here and there for the Big Picture podcast. I put together 52 pages of notes for Robert Altman for them on their Altman Hall of Fame episode. You may hear some of my research with them coming up soon, too. I may be doing a little bit more. So if you listen to that, the Big Picture, you might hear my name again.
Very cool. That's exciting, man.
Yeah,
Congrats.
congratulations.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
George, you don't do anything, but
No, I don't do anything. I wrote a dumbass movie script. Who knows? Maybe in a few years you'll see that.
fuck yeah.
Just kidding. That will never get made.
But the Luchador film is the dead format of the day. Not just that,
Hell yeah.
it's also a Frankenstein adaptation. And this
Hell yeah.
episode is
The ultimate dead format in a lot of ways.
Guillermo del Toro is going to bitch slap you if he heard you say that,
Well, yeah.
sir.
Well, I just mean because he's made of dead guys.
I was going to say, this episode is set to roughly coincide with the release of GDT's Frankenstein. So are you guys hyped for this movie? Not Santo, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure that it will be beautiful.
Yeah.
I recently read the book, and I'm really like re-jazzed on the idea of seeing an adaptation that accurately adapts it in a way that most of the new adaptations are adapting the 1931 Universal movie as opposed to the actual book. And this certainly seems to hew closer to that, because those people are beautiful.
I mean, I think the Branagh adaptation is probably the closest to the book that has been done, probably, right?
Yeah.
So I am curious to kind of see how this one comes out and how it's done, and yeah, whether it sticks pretty close to the book or if it's veering more into the film adaptation territory. I would be curious to see that too.
Yeah, so
right.
I actually shamefully have not read Frankenstein. I did start listening to the audiobook in preparation for this, but like 5 minutes into it, I was like, fuck this. I cannot like just like it's not something that I can personally listen to and actually absorb any of it. Like I would have to sit down and read it. It was just like,
yeah, I was just thinking that weirdly, I don't think that I would be able to listen to it because it's written so floridly and so densely that oftentimes I had to read a sentence a few times to be like, what exactly are they saying here? And sometimes even just sitting with a turn of phrase and like the idea of having to like rush for the pause button in order to do that and then hit the back for 15 seconds because you're like, oh, well, now I don't want to actually be in a weird spot. And it was just a really great reading experience. And it's funny because everybody is all like, and actually Frankenstein is the monster, but actually the monster is also pretty monstrous. He does a lot of fucked up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In the movie, in the 1931 movie, he's a little sweet boy. He's a little sweetie pie. For the most part. Look.
He didn't mean to hurt that girl.
He didn't mean to hurt that girl. The assistant is actively torturing him. All he wanted was to reach up for the sun, and they shut it on him. But in the book, there's like this interesting idea of he's like, I'm so upset that I need you to inflict this curse on somebody else and make me this wife. Mm-hmm. And not only are you inflicting the curse of life upon her, but I'll take her and we'll fuck off to the jungle. And this is in return for me doing this and never troubling humanity again. You have to make me this wife. And the doctor starts to comply. He's like building the body. And then he comes to his senses because he's like, everything that I feel bad about doing to this guy is going to be doubled for this woman that I'm building, who now I'm signing up not only for life, but to be, chained to this guy as well. And maybe she doesn't want to run off to the jungle, never to see humanity again. So there's an interesting element of him actually learning his lesson in the book. And then Frankenstein, the monster, being like, hey, that was fucked up of you. And now I'm going to ruin your life, bro. And he was right to do it. The doctor was correct to do that. And he pays the price for it, which I think is an interesting difference that is not often explored in the movies.
Yeah, I would say, like I said, I haven't read it, but knowing that the Kenneth Branagh is considered to be like the most closely adapted, I would also say there's a made-for-TV version starring Patrick Bergin with Randy Quaid as the monster.
Oh, yeah.
That is extremely similar to the Branagh version. So I would also say that's a good, close adaptation.
Wow, it's on my radar. I haven't watched it yet, but I definitely know of it. So that is high praise, and I will probably be getting to it sooner rather than later.
I have it on my Plex because this was like, I covered this on a podcast I used to do several years ago. This was one of those ones where you have to like order it from the WB archives and they like print it on demand sort of thing.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Because no one gives a shit about it.
VIP treatment.
Yeah, so that, and I also, for my 31 and 31, recently finally watched the Bernard Rose 2015 Frankenstein.
I don't think I've even heard of that one. Bernard.
No. Candyman guy.
Oh, right. Gosh, I guess I didn't realize he had made a Frankenstein.
It was not as bad as I had heard, but also not very good. It was, Tony Todd's in it. That's the reason I watched it. Also, like, I've always just been curious because Candyman is like an absolute titan of the genre, but you never hear about anything else Bernard Rose has done except maybe Paper House. I hear some stuff about that sometimes, but yeah, it's kind of the modern trope of like, what if like Frankenstein was hot? Like that seems to be.
Don't do that. He's an ugly guy.
It's yeah.
We need ugly representation.
Did either of you guys watch Depraved, which is, I think, the director? Why am I blanking on the name of the director of that one? That was a relatively recent, but it was also like sort of a modern retelling of Frankenstein.
Larry Fessenden.
I want to say it was Larry Fessenden. It was Fessenden.
Wow.
Okay, all right.
Fess man.
Yeah, so he did
I
one.
gotta fess up. I haven't seen it.
Wow.
Okay. That was all right. I thought it was okay. It was kind of like a modern kind of. I think there's like some tech bro-y dude who's involved in it and everything. It's interesting.
Here's my. I mean, this isn't really a hot take, but I'm going to call it a hot take so that we can talk about it. Has the H.P. Lovecraft name on it, but really, Reanimator is just Frankenstein, and it's got to be the second best adaptation after Universal, maybe.
Interesting.
If we're going loose adaptations, I think.
I don't even think it's that loose, though. It's
it is
pretty straightforward. A direct,
It is technically based on one of his short stories, which is very friggin' racist. If you guys have never read that story specifically, it's
the
very
body
racist.
that comes to life is not so nice. Not so nicely treated by HP.
No, or just because it was that the boxer. Right? That was
yeah.
And the way he described he's bad.
He's a bad dude.
Bad dude. But I guess that I see where you're saying that's essentially a Frankenstein adaptation.
If we're bringing in Reanimator, I'm bringing in It's Alive. That's the best Frankenstein adaptation.
Also great. I'd put it in the top 3.
But yeah,
that's the horror movie that made my dad never watch any more horror movies because he watched it at a drive-in as a teenager and was just like, "Fuck this."
He was like
done with horror.
This is so good, nothing will ever top this.
Yes, exactly. You're right. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Like I hear this Kubrick guy is maybe going to make a Stephen King adaptation, but no way. I'm not going to watch that. This is the pinnacle right here.
That's right. Best horror movie ever made. I've heard.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you've watched a lot of Frankenstein stuff recently, George. So I was like, let's get Brantley. And Brantley's a librarian. So clearly he's read books.
One or two.
Yeah. All right, brag.
I was like,
no, weirdly, I don't have a lot of time to read very much unless it's research related stuff. So, I mean, I have got this, Robert Redford biography I'm in the process of reading and the films of Robert Redford right here. But, I guess that's the closest thing to a book I've been able to read. Pretty much. And on page 125 in this book is that famous Mike Nichols thing about Redford wanting to be in The Graduate and him being like, but you don't understand. Like, I look at you. I can't imagine any woman ever turning you down. Like, what would you do? What do you do when a woman turns you down? And he goes, "What do you mean?"
Yeah, that's good. Look, and who could blame them? And who could blame them? Handsome fellow, that Redford.
Yep. But no, I appreciate the praise there, but I actually feel like I don't read very much. It actually makes me feel a little bad sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I have some bad ADHD, so it's very difficult for me to read because the only time I'm in a setting that would be conducive to me actually reading and absorbing is while I'm at work, and I can't just read books while I'm at work. Every other part of the day is cats are freaking out, ladies hungry, we need to cook dinner, go somewhere. So it's like it's very difficult for me to ever sit down and read.
Yeah. For a second there, when you said the ladies hungry, I thought you meant ladies are hungry because you said it right after cats, and I just imagined a group of feral ladies outside your door, like pawing at it for you to come feed them
with wrinkly skin, old lady hands.
Yes.
As we see in this film.
Perfect segue.
Well done, Chris.
So,
wait, at one point, did you ask also if we were familiar with Santo, or
no,
was that
I was
still just
I was
a
about
remnant?
to do that. So, I mean,
Perfect.
not Santo, but I guess the more pertinent question to this film, other than Frankenstein fandom, is: are either of you wrestling fans, pro wrestling fans?
Once upon a time, as a young lad, the Attitude Era loomed large. I fell out of it as quickly as I fell in, but, I was watching for sure. My guy, Rob Van Dam, was out there kicking ass, ECW stuff as well. And, the games were a huge part of it as well, playing SmackDown versus Raw with the boys. So it's funny that I would say that, like, the actual act of watching wrestling was probably the least impactful piece of my wrestling fandom, but it was still a huge part of my childhood, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. How about you, Brantley?
Yeah, I'd say very similarly. Like, as a kid, I was definitely a very, like, casual wrestling fan and, like, definitely enjoyed, like, watching it from time to time. But I never got, like, super into it. And I never was, like, wanted to go see a show in person or anything like that. Like, unlike some other sports where, you know, it's like, yeah, I'd love to catch a Sox game or go watch the Pats game or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd say by the time I'm like a teen, I'm not really like paying that much attention to it. So it was kind of this brief window where I was just like casually interested. I remember like, I don't know, maybe 10-ish years ago, around the time I was like turning 30, I was like, oh, maybe I'll like try to back in on the WWE, see what's going on. Tried that for a little bit, and I was just like, yeah, it's not doing it for me. I mean, no offense to anyone who loves wrestling. I think that's great. Love what you love. It just, it was a very casual interest of mine.
Yeah.
But like George, though, I liked playing the games, and like Andre the Giant was my favorite wrestler, even though like he was not wrestling when I was a kid. You know? It was just like I would play him in the games, or I've like watched like the big was it WrestleMania 3 in Detroit there, him and Hulk Hogan or something, you know. So yeah, it was like my interest in wrestling and wrestlers was very tangential and separate from the actual like watching live wrestling.
No.
It's funny because I feel like wrestling fans are more intense than ever. But wrestling feels like it used to be such a huge part of pop culture.
Yeah, I mean...
in a way that it isn't anymore.
It's kind of like people within 10 years of our age ranges, if you ask them, did you used to skateboard and did you used to watch wrestling? Very similar answers, because it's like, for a very brief period of time, like, yes, everyone was skateboarding. Very few people stuck with it.
I was alive.
Yeah. Everyone was watching wrestling. I likewise played WCW versus NWO for the N64. That's like my main thing when it comes to wrestling. I feel like you said, Brantley, like 10 years ago, not just you, but it is people our age, like there was a resurgence where everyone's like, we're going to start watching it again. We know what kayfabe is.
That AEW came out right around then, and it was like sort of an alternative to WWE, and I feel like that had a big part to do with it, where like suddenly you didn't have to be supporting the McMahon dynasty and all of their ills. But yeah, I will say I have been to a live show a few times as an adult. And you have a few drinks. The energy's electric. It was pretty fun. I'm saying wrestling fan, non-practicing.
Lapsed wrestling fan.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I actually would probably enjoy going to a live show for those exact reasons. It's fun. Like, I do have a real appreciation for like the athleticism and the art form of wrestling. So like, in that way, it's like, I actually think I would enjoy like a live wrestling match, but it's not like a part of my life that I'm like checking in or watching much about it at all.
Much like,
we all need an actual invested wrestling fan to be like, hey, it's coming to town. Let's go. That's what we all need.
I think for me, much like I was talking about in a recent episode on Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, I am more fascinated by wrestling in like an anthropological sense. And like, I think the whole thing is very interesting, especially Lucha Libre is super interesting, but it's not, I would never be one to just like watch it regularly and follow the storylines, because I just know that's not me. Like I would get bored very easily or very quickly.
Sure.
But yeah, so this is Lucha Libre. It's a Mexican wrestling movie. Either of you guys know much about Lucha Libre versus American pro wrestling and versus Japanese pro wrestling?
All I know is the masks. That's it. I just know that the Lucha Libre wrestlers wear the masks, and that's it. Other than that, I can't say I know anything else about it. And I know that luchador wrestling movies are a big like subgenre or genre within Mexican cinema. And I knew of Santo and like Santo films, But yeah, other than that, no. I don't know. I have no idea how different the wrestling or wrestling styles are besides that.
Yeah, I would say most of my exposure was just through like knowledge of Santo and also like Rey Mysterio being part of WWE back in the day. But I there's the one term that I knew going into this was that the heels are rudos.
Yeah. So that is an interesting difference. And like the way I found out about Santo and luchador films was just like, I don't remember exactly, but a couple of years ago, before whatever box set you have, George, was released, they were a little bit harder to get a hold of. So, but somehow it came into my periphery and I was like, what the hell is El Santo? And looking at his Wikipedia article, it's like he was a Mexican wrestler, actor, and folk hero. And that was extremely interesting to me. So I watched one movie, I think it was called Atacan las Brujas, Attack, like the Witches Attack. It was one of the older, like black and white ones. But just this idea that, like, not only is a professional wrestler considered a folk hero, but it's also something that is like when I think folk hero, I'm like, oh, Johnny Appleseed, like 100+ years ago. But to have someone be considered a folk hero who is like, I think he died in like 1984. So like modern times, like that concept was super interesting to me.
Well, he kind of had a like specific thing as well, where it wasn't just like, oh, he's a cool wrestler, but he came up at a time where Mexican wrestling was starting to interact more with international wrestling. And so it was like, he was a violent wrestler. He was a rudo.
Yes.
If you can believe that this our white hat, silver masked hero here was in fact one of the violent heels. But there was like this big tournament taking place in Mexico. And so all of Mexico was like, oh, it's great that this guy is beating the shit out of all these international fuckers. Yeah. So he like that is a huge piece of his legend, was that it was like they all came here. He won this tournament by being a damn badass. And yeah, I bet I would be like, you're my hero too, Santo.
Yeah.
So did he turn then from a heel to a babyface, to use American terminology?
Yeah, so
like after this tournament?
Basically his first movie is like considered his heel face turn. And like George's,
and he was in the comics too, and he was like a
like
superhero.
George was saying, in Mexico, what we call heels are called rudos, and baby faces are called técnicos. So it's a little bit different because it's also like, and just for people that have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, a heel in wrestling is a bad guy, a baby face is a good guy. But in Mexico, it's also like tied to their fighting style, like Technico.
Okay, that was going to be my next question.
So it's not exactly a 1-to-1. It's a like kind of an interesting difference, although.
And part of where it intersects is that as opposed to using technical fighting prowess, is that they use a lot of like outside tools. You know, like they'll put on like an iron bar across their hands. That's the kind of thing a heel would do. But here it's like, oh, I'm not just using technical skill.
Gotcha.
So it's like there's overlap even in its being different, like the fact that they're doing different things, or rather they're doing the same thing as a different element of their persona kind of thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But in general, quite a bit more technical than American pro wrestling. They do like crazy high flying stunts. Part of that is that Mexican pro wrestling has more and more like strictly defined weight classes. Like there's a lot of weight classes, like down to like people under 5 feet tall have their own weight class. People even smaller than that have their own weight class. I feel like cruiserweight is probably like the most popular weight class because those are the people that are at the weight where they can do all of this crazy shit.
They had cruiserweight, they had welterweight, they had medium weight, which was funny to me.
Like they do have like pretty much all of the boxing weight classes, like bantam, fly. Like we don't have that in America. It's basically like heavyweight. I think we have welterweight and cruiserweight, and I think that's about it. maybe light heavyweight
Yeah,
if they
I mean,
want to.
I feel like heavyweight is broken out within itself.
Yeah.
But I am also not a huge boxing guy.
Well, I didn't even really realize that there was any weight classes in American wrestling, because I just feel like you see just like some massive dude take on like high flying Rey Mysterio kind of guy like all the time. So I mean, I feel like it's like, I mean, maybe I've heard heavyweight, but I don't think I've heard any other weight class in like American wrestling. But granted, I was a very,
I think that a piece of that is also that, like, for the big events, like for SummerSlam or something, there might be some interaction between the weight classes.
Yeah, like also since it's not real, it doesn't.
No,
it doesn't really matter. What? Like it's not like boxing where like a heavyweight could kill a flyweight.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, I guess I also just thought like it was different. It was just different belts. Like there's the World Heavyweight Championship belt, and then there's the Intercontinental belt, title. And so it's like you might be a champion. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, you've got two champions facing off to become like the all encompassing champion or whatever, but not really weight based, I guess, is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I can tell you weight classes don't exist in wrestling because my daughter is like 45 pounds, or no, wait, about 60 pounds now. She's gotten bigger, and like got 200 pounds on her. So look, I mean, if there was any governing body that was involved in wrestling, she had every single time she gets that Intercontinental Championship belt from me. She actually is really good at like taking a hit. Like we have these pillows on the couch, so I'll like come up like I'm swinging it like a baseball bat. She'll be like, whoa, and like throw herself back and everything. So she's really into the performing.
So she doesn't no sell.
Oh no, she sells it. She sells it, and she's great.
She's got a future.
I'm trying to get her to like do a move where like she like grabs my arm and then like throws me so that I like land on the couch and I can do kind of like a somersault on it. It's a little bit more coaching in that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, next SummerSlam we'll keep an eye out for you.
Yeah.
There you go.
But going back to what Brantley was saying, like one of the things he knows about Lucha Libre is masks, which is very iconic. Not all of them do wear masks, but a lot of them do. Partially
and why wouldn't you?
It's so much cooler. And partially, this is due to the popularity of El Santo and Blue Demon and Mil Máscaras. But
my guy, Blue Demon.
Yeah, I watched a couple documentaries about Lucha Libre, the names of which are escaping me, but I will put in the show notes just to like kind of learn about it. And a lot of the things that I saw in the first Santo film that I thought were funny, like then made complete sense to me. Because one of the things like that was so funny to me is how in that movie, he's like a superhero, but he also just has like an office with like books and a telephone and he's wearing his mask. And I thought that was super funny, but like these guys do not take off their masks ever in public. And in fact, one of the big things of Lucha Libre is having luchas de apuestas, which is like bet fights where it's like, I challenge you, loser has to take off his fucking mask. And it's like the ultimate shame in Lucha Libre. And then you can't really fight under that persona anymore because you've just been unmasked. And Santo was fucking buried in his mask. Like, it's super serious.
I mean, okay, so I get it. It's the look. And like he says in the movies, in almost every movie, he has so many enemies that would target him if they knew who he was under there. So it really, how can you
got a lot of ops?
Yeah.
So
shooters in the streets.
That sort of brought up a question for me because you said the persona, and I wondered if one of the reasons they wear them is like, someone is, what did you say, the Blue Flyer or whatever their name
Demon.
is.
Blue Demon. Come on,
Blue Demon.
Some respect on the name.
I apologize. But like, can they like retire and then hand that persona to somebody else?
Yes.
Because this is the first Santo movie I watched. So I wondered like, okay, does the same actor play Santo through all these movies? Did
Brantley,
that Santo persona get handed off? Okay, great. Excellent. I can't wait to hear.
So yes, Santo in all of these movies is the original Santo, but yes, they do hand over the mantle sometimes. There is El Hijo de Santo, del Santo, like son of Santo, who...
They also had a different guy for the comics at one point, because the comics were half drawings, half photos. And at one point, Santo was so popular that he was like, I simply cannot be everywhere at once. I need a big buff dude to take over the comic spun. So when you see the Santo with the S on his forehead, that's not the different Santo. Not
the true original Santo. But yeah, I think like part of their retirement ceremony, or sometimes they'll unmask, or like they will do one of these luchas de apuestas, like knowing they're going to lose as like a send off, like I'm going to take my mask off. This is me going away. But yeah, they hand down the mantle. Also, a huge part of Lucha Libre is having like weight divisions for little people. And there will also like oftentimes be mini versions of like the heavyweight wrestlers. Like there was a mini version of Santo named Santocito. So, yeah, I was looking at some post on Reddit the other day of like the spin-offs of the Santo persona, and there's been a lot. There's like Santo Segundo, which is like some guy he knew that just like used unauthorized use of Santo, and he was no-showing a lot of events. So Santo was like, don't stop, quit it. There's like...
Yeah, seriously.
Does that translate to second Santo? Yeah. Santo Segundo?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just like a Roman numeral, so I don't know if they say Santo Dos, like Santo 2, or Santo Segundo, Santo the second. I assume it's Santo Segundo. But yeah, there's like Son of Santo, who I think the first Son of Santo was not actually the Son of Santo, but then there's another Son of Santo.
It's like Minya versus Son of Godzilla.
Exactly. It's exactly like that. So, I don't know. This is all just like super incredibly fascinating to me. I will never understand it because I'm not Mexican and I don't watch wrestling, but I can admire from afar.
There was a lot of great crossovers. You know, he not only crossed over with Blue Demon, but I have watched one with Montequios Napolis, the boxer, and they just like... They'd be like, I'm here too. I'm here to also fight monsters. It's like, fuck yeah, dude, get on board. Here we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
I watched one a couple days ago, the Mummies of Guanajuato, which was like Blue Demon, Mil Máscaras, and El Santo in quotes, because he's in it for like 5 minutes, actually. Yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot of them. I feel like I've yet to see the one that appeals to me specifically, but there's enough juice in each of them that keeps me coming back.
They are sleepy in a way that I like.
Yes.
They like, none of them are none of the ones I've seen, which is like 7 out of 30 or whatever.
Yeah.
None of them have been my favorite movie, but they've all been pleasant.
That was definitely a note I had, is this movie really takes its time, even for an 83-minute movie. It sure meanders here and there.
Yeah.
But I have a question. So, like, are they all, or are they very often usually, like, horror theme related?
Yeah, they're mostly, like sci-fi, a little bit of horror tinged, but I would say, like, mostly leaning towards sci-fi, and also some, like, mafia crime adventure stuff.
I watched a Western one the other day.
Oh, Western one. Interesting. Yeah. Does he have a cowboy hat on?
You
on top of the mask?
You better believe he does.
Yeah. That's fun. I could just picture that. That's great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Although the villains are lepers, and it's particularly funny because, you know, you'd be like, oh, I bet that it's like really offensive to lepers, but they're just like constantly apologizing. They're like, look, they're sick. Don't be mean to them. It's like any fear of like exploitation movie is out the window except for the Santo elements.
Okay, that's fun.
Yeah, I'm just like looking at the posters. Lots of vampires, lots of mummies.
They promise Frankenstein in more than one, and they're not always there.
This one does.
Well, and I was curious.
This one does.
Friggin' Frankenstein.
That's exactly right. He does make an appearance in this one. It's funny because I watched Santo and Blue Demon versus Frankenstein. I assumed that came first. No, they fight his daughter 2 years before they fight the man himself.
Well, they kind of fought the man himself in a way in this one, though. Maybe not the Frankenstein, a version, so to speak, I guess. But I was curious about that just because I know Mexico, like out of all countries, has like the highest horror consumption and it like blows so many other countries out of the water.
I didn't know that.
Like they love the highest number of Frankensteins.
Apparently,
It makes perfect sense.
No, yeah, yeah. Like per capita, like they consume the most horror films of anybody. So that's why I was curious if they're all like horror related.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of explains it because I did think about that a little bit. I was like, that's kind of, I mean, ostensibly like a portion of the audience would be children. So you would think like maybe they would just have him battling like a dinosaur or some shit, like something more neutral. But
there's definitely a famous Dracula adaptation in Spanish.
There is.
Yeah.
I mean,
they filmed that at night, right? After they'd already filmed during the day. Is that right? On the same sets?
That's right.
Part of like when I was watching these documentaries about Lucha Libre is just like a big emphasis on how the Técnico versus Rudo dynamic is just like we are watching good versus evil in real time. So I guess it makes sense for him to go up against like not lepers, but like Dracula or
Frankenstein's daughter,
mummies,
and the lepers.
But I will say, like, you know, as much as we want to, like, you could say it's like a good versus evil. There's some interesting nuance in our villain in this film a little bit, that more than I was expecting from a
what the heck 53-year-old.
Yay! You know,
she's
people
holding this damn
complain.
youth serum over these people's heads. She's telling them to gouge out each other's eyes.
Look, people complain that all horror nowadays is just trauma, like on screen. 53 years ago, this is about trauma. She's dealing with the trauma of being the daughter of this famous scientist and having to carry on his legacy. She's dealing with the trauma of having to be a woman in a male-dominated STEM field. And then the trauma of, like, the ageism that exists in our society, especially for women, and having to, you know, placate to those beauty standards. Excuse me, sir. I think this is a very nuanced villain in this film.
The only trauma I'm concerned with is the trauma of the belly to back suplex. That's the only trauma that matters.
That's right. I want Street Fighter style X-ray vision of the impact.
Yeah, so this film, damn. Who was this directed by? I should probably look that up. There's so many Santo films on Letterboxd that picking out this poster.
And while you look that up, I will say that several of these were written by Rene Cardona Sr., Rene Cardona, he's very famous Mexican writer. And Rene Cardona Jr. Also has some interesting movies that I have enjoyed, although they tend to be more in the like cannibal exploitation-y kind of vibe.
Yes. So this was directed by Miguel Delgado. It stars, of course, El Santo as El Santo.
Much like in the original Frankenstein, where the monster is credited as question mark, they really commit to the bit here.
Gina Romand as Dr. Freda Frankenstein. The
great name, hilarious.
Mononymous Anel as Norma.
Come on, her name's Anal.
Roberto Cañedo as Dr. Yanko, and Sonia Fuentes as Elsa. There's other people. Gerardo Cepeda as Ursus and Truxon. Same guy.
That's right. The double portrayal.
I was a little confused with a different name. I was like, wait, that's
very
same
similar makeup. So, yeah.
Elsa was Norma's sister, right?
Yes, she was.
Yeah, okay, all right. I just want to make sure I got that.
And this was released in 1972 to what I assume was great fanfare. Why not?
I believe it.
Why not? It's a fun
one. It wasn't the first or the last. Clearly, people were still very on board with the Santo thing. And why wouldn't you be?
I mean, look, you imagine 1972, you walk in, they show you a man transforming back into a gorilla. That's gonna get me coming back.
Blowing people's minds.
Yeah, so let's get into the plot of this thing. And as always, feel free to interrupt as often and thoroughly as you like.
You will never stop me.
So the movie opens with a shot of some lab equipment. There's Florence flasks, maybe even an Erlenmeyer or two. And we're treated to some nice early 70s sci-fi jazz. It's a dark and stormy night. 3 men in rain slickers are in a cemetery digging up a coffin. They lift up the lid to reveal a recently deceased male corpse who, for some reason, makes a loud cougar growl. It's a very frequently used sound effect in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the 3 men carry the corpse to a nearby mansion, and they're greeted by a guy who looks like Brian Wilson's buff Mexican cousin. And they enter the mansion, lift up a rug. There's a secret staircase to Dr. Freda Frankenstein's underground laboratory under there.
I mean, it's a great secret entrance.
Yeah. And going from the opening credits, which are very beautifully photographed. In fact, I think it might have just been like still photos or whatever, maybe not even shot on film. And then it cuts to them doing this. Like it was a little jarring in the quality jump from the opening credits to that. And I was like, oh, okay, here's what I've been for. But I will say the rest of the film, there was actually some surprising production value as it went on. I do think there was like some great atmosphere, like what they were doing with like lightning and stuff like that. And it was pretty fun.
It's a perfect film.
Yeah, they're running around in some caves and stuff.
Yeah.
We say that, but not having seen the other 27 Santo movies, I can't confirm whether or not these sets were reused multiple times.
Well, it's not the exact same set as the other Dr. Frankenstein one.
There you go.
I can confirm that. That was, they had advanced in those 2 years. It had a much more traditional tech lab kind of feel to it.
Yes. The evil doctoress is downstairs examining herself in the mirror. She's beautiful, but she's come down with your classic case of old lady hands.
Fatal.
Comes for us all.
Her arm skin is wrinkly as hell, and she steps over to a table of medical instruments and injects herself with a strange red liquid.
What do you mean, strange red liquid, dude? That's classic rejuvenation serum.
Yes. Yeah. Big GT medicine vibes I was getting in this film.
Yeah, we're back. We're back, baby.
And so meanwhile, Freda's assistant, Dr. Yanko, who looks a lot like a taller, younger Stacy Keach, and his assistants, they're fooling around with the corpse they just dug up. And so the assistants... Like you do. The assistants, they exposition at each other. They're all afraid of Dr. Frankenstein.
I actually love this when he's like, I respect Dr. Frankenstein. And they're like, oh, you mean you fear her? And he's like, that's the same damn thing.
Yeah, he's like, if it wasn't for that serum she gives us every time we need it, we'd only be a bunch of miserable specters. Have you forgotten how old you are?
That's right. And then he goes like, what is a man but a miserable pile of secrets? Have at you. You go, weird. Weird, dude.
And Dr. Yanko's like, hey, shut the fuck up. We don't talk about age.
It's forbidden. It's forbidden to talk about age around there.
And Yanko tells Dr. Frankenstein that the corpse is fully prepped. She tells him to take out the eyes and transplant them into Ursus. And Yanko notices that Frankenstein isn't looking well, and she explains that her special anti-aging serum has lost its effect on her.
Tragic.
Her body is saturated, but all hope is not lost, thanks to Santo, because you see, years ago, Dr. Frankenstein saw Santo fight in the US, and just a month ago, she saw him fight again, and it was almost like he hadn't aged at all. And after the fight, she got some of his blood, and she brought it back to the lab, and the blood of El Santo carries the TR factor in a proportion 100 times larger than normal people.
That sweet TR factor.
This is GT medicine. This is the T virus.
When I thought that this was the sequel to versus Dr. Frankenstein, I was upset for my friend Blue Demon. I was like, it's fucked up that he does not have the TR factor. They don't want his blood. But luckily he comes into the picture later. So it was okay. They weren't being mean to my friend Blue Demon.
Yep.
Is he in this movie? I don't remember that.
No, he's not in this one.
No,
he's in the other one. Where they team up.
God damn, I must have missed something.
No. Here's the problem, is that they are basically the same movie. So it is like, it's tough because it is just this movie plus another guy for Santo to play off of. And so you're like, well, I kind of like that, you know?
So, of course, if Frankenstein wants to halt the aging process in herself, she must find a way to get Santo's blood, Santo Sangre, if you will.
Whoa. All right. Okay, watch out for this guy.
Yes, I realize that that's not correct Spanish, but it's a pun. It's a pun, guys. So
it's a pun. It's artistic license, folks.
Mm-hmm. Yonko and Frankenstein wander over to a cage built into the caverns beneath the Frankenstein lair, and in that cage is a creature named Truxon, created by Frankenstein by transfusing the blood of a gorilla into a human being. And Frankenstein, she says her two objectives are to, one, bring Ursus to life, and Ursus is a creature built with parts of different corpses, just like her daddy did it, and two, to catch Santo and keep him by her side forever. How injecting gorilla blood into humans figures into this, I have no idea.
I think it's to get a big, tough gorilla man who can beat him.
I also love how the gorilla blood only made his face look like a gorilla. He didn't grow like thick furry hair all over the rest of his body or anything. It just was right in the facial region.
Concentrated in the face.
He's eating the most disgusting piece of meat ever put to film.
Yeah,
and you know that was probably a real piece of meat that they just had the dude eat or start to bite into on set.
It looks like it's been sitting out and is like partially like mummified. It's super
Thank
gross.
God he had the makeup to cover his tears.
Not since Universal Soldier have I seen a man bite into a raw meat on screen and been so like, oh.
Hey, you're not supposed to do that. I will say these crazy plans that don't really make sense are a family tradition because in the sequel prequel, Dr. Frankenstein's plan is that he has his dead wife and he wants to put a brain into her to resurrect her so that she can join him as a newly youthened person. And my question is, hey, surely the brain is the important personality piece.
I was just gonna say, how would she remember you if you put a different brain in her?
Yeah, it's not I guess he's like, I don't care who's in the body. It's like the body looks like my wife. But this guy is not very nice. If that's the case. So, maybe there's your trauma, Brantley, is that poor Hija de Frankenstein here was dealing with that in the family.
Yep. I mean, that's probably why Frida became a doctor, to win the approval of her father.
Yeah, that's right. Carry on
Too
his
busy
work.
trying to resurrect his wife.
Look, it's a tale as old as time, as we've seen in the also wonderful Lady Frankenstein, a wonderful piece of work that is basically that also. And, yeah, that's a good one, too. Man, there's a lot of good Frankensteins out there.
Isn't there going to be a new adaptation of The Bride of Frankenstein called The Bride? Is that Maggie
with Christian
Gyllenhaal?
Bale. Christian Bale
is that Maggie?
In that. Yeah,
is that Maggie Gyllenhaal or am I crazy? Okay, all
My
right,
mortal enemy. Just kidding. She was rude to me once.
Oh, really? Was she?
It's true. I'll tell you. Okay. I'll tell you off air.
Okay, all right.
The only Bride I recognize is the other Frankenstein Bride adaptation from like 1985 starring Sting.
Wow. There was also
there's The Bride of Reanimator.
Also, Lisa Frankenstein came out recently. I did not see
Bride
it.
of Chucky.
But I know it came out. Bride of Chucky.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Bride
a good
of
one.
Chucky.
We love the Bride of Chuck. My gal, Gentilly.
Tiff. Yep.
So it's at this point in the movie we are shown a full-on lucha libre match between our hero El Santo and the villainous
is correct.
El Toro.
I do love that in every single Santo movie, they're like, I know that we're in the middle of a lot of important stuff, but we need to go wrestle in front of the void.
And they were right to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And they were showing the full rounds, pretty much. We got a lot of this wrestling. Oh, boy.
Yeah, it seems like you guys feel like I was saying that was a bad thing. No, I'm happy about this.
I think this is the one where there's like, they do 2 rounds, right? It's like the first round and the second round,
yes,
right?
Because in between
first
rounds,
ball and second ball,
El Toro's manager gives him what basically brass knuckles type thing.
That's right.
He beats the shit out of Santo.
the second round I feel like was more entertaining, but also was just filmed a lot better. Like, I feel like when we cut to the wrestling, it's like one shot for a very long time. Like, there's just not a lot of dynamic, like, energy. Yeah. Which you would think for like a wrestling or fighting or boxing or some kind of like, combat sport, you would expect a little bit more dynamism. That just was not there.
I don't know.
It literally put one person in the audience.
I don't know, Brantley, because when you say they're showing this and it's just one shot, Goodfellas, everyone's like, it's just one shot.
Oh, you know what? You make a great point.
Classically moves.
No. The
camera follows our characters.
The one shot is the important part. It doesn't matter if it moves.
Yeah.
Grow up, Brantley.
I know, God forbid.
Or Hitchcock's Rope, if you like, if that's a more apt comparison. Yeah. We can't we can't criticize one and praise the other. They're exactly the same in all respects.
But even just the editing in that second round was just like sped up so much more, where like they're punching and they're like cutting in and like, coming out. So it was a very odd juxtaposition of those two rounds in terms of style, let's say.
I do think that they really luxuriate in it. It feels to me like they think, and perhaps correctly, that these are the exploitation moments where they're like, we came to see Santo fucking wrestle, dog. And, it's funny because it's like, they'll be like, okay, Santo does an armbar and he flips him over and then he does another armbar and then a third. And it's like, I feel like in a traditional movie, they would be like, let's maybe just do one armbar and then move to the next, to the next move. But here they're like, no, we need to show Santo fucking doing his thing. And I respect that.
Yeah. I mean,
when they did 2 scissor kicks in a row where he like jumps up, grabs his neck with his legs, and then like throws the guy while he falls. He's like, oh, just the same move again. Okay.
Could you do it? I can't even do that once, much less twice.
No, okay.
I mean,
all right,
the thing is like, I could take 1 scissor kick, right? Like, I can eat that.
Yeah.
2?
Yeah. 2?
No.
Can't be done.
No.
That's how you know that Santo's the real deal.
But yeah, I probably should have looked this up. I didn't really think about it until you guys were talking about it. It's just like, this is 72. I don't know what the state of like televising Lucha Libre matches were. So it's like, maybe there's probably a lot of, if it's the case that you were not easily able to watch Santo on TV, like, yeah, you would want to see this because there's probably a lot of fans that are like, I love Santo. I don't live in Mexico City where they're doing all these matches. I know him from the comic books, but I want to see him do his thing on screen.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brantley, check your privilege about internet accessibility.
You guys are so right. And, this is what I come to this podcast for, to be taken down a peg and shown the error of my ways.
Yeah.
And this is what I come for, is to take Brantley down a peg.
Yep.
So this one and Mummies of Guanajuato, which I also watched recently, as I mentioned earlier, they do have these like, oh, we're going to cut away to just a full wrestling match. The first one I watched, The Witch's Attack, I feel like the wrestling was more like in situ, like they found excuses for him to wrestle people out in the real world, which I enjoyed a little bit more.
That definitely happens in a handful of them that I've seen as well. And I did enjoy that, but it is funny that it truly does just become the wrestling match, but outside. Yeah. And I also laughed a lot that at one point I saw them kick a huge boulder and it flew across because it was styrofoam.
No, it's because of his magic blood.
Oh, that's right. Yes. The TR factor. How could I forget?
100 times that of a normal human.
That stands for trip over rock factor.
So yeah, I mean, things are looking pretty dire for Santo in this second round, but he gains a second wind, and thank God, because this is the deciding factor on his title, his world medium weight championship title match against Yamaguchi.
Which, that's an odd name for this guy he was wrestling, right? Like, this guy looks like the whitest suburban dad you've ever seen. I mean, he maybe was like ethnically Hispanic, but I think they said he's from Argentina, right?
El Toro,
yeah.
He's got that Nazi blood.
But but the guy's name was Yamagachi, and he's like looks like a white Superman dad. It really threw me off, the name. Anyway,
he's got blood from every piece of the Axis.
I was thinking about what they said from Argentina.
No, I think El Toro is from Argentina, but Yamaguchi he's from Japan.
Oh, he was. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
all right. I'm confusing the two big wrestling matches
that last
in the movie
match right now because I honestly was not paying attention that much, but yeah, he totally is exactly how you described him. I would not be like, oh, this dude's obviously from Japan. But there is like a historic like tie between Mexican and Japanese wrestling where Japanese wrestlers went over to Mexico and vice versa.
Fire Pro.
I think I can't remember. It might have been Ultimo Dragon. He like in WCW, it's kind of like my recollection was that he was a Mexican wrestler, but he is actually Japanese and is just like donning the garb and I guess the language when it comes to his name of Lucha Libre. Yeah, I think that's right because his name was Ultimo Dragon, which is like the last dragon. He was the last person in his, persona. He was the last person ever trained by Bruce Lee. Wow. So
I thought it's because he was a Highlander and he killed all the other dragons.
He did.
My favorite character in Ultimo Dragon is Bimmy and Jimmy.
Man, I don't know what it is, but Reddit thinks I'm really into like Cinemassacre for some reason. So I'm constantly
nice, dude.
Served up the Cinemassacre subreddit where they refer to James Rolfe as Bimmy.
Oh boy. I've always said that you're something of an angry video game nerd, Chris, so this actually checks out.
I constantly am bitching about Nintendo.
You're going to take us back to the past to talk about the formats that sucked ass.
Yes. This one doesn't, though, luckily.
That's true. This one actually they usually don't. That was a lie that I said earlier.
But yes, while this match is going on, Santo's girlfriend Norma is watching the match on TV in her bedroom when her sister/roommate Elsa enters. She asks Norma, "How can you love a man whose face you've never seen?" And she says, "Well, if you saw him without it, you'd also be crazy for him."
That's right. He's like, we gotta tell people I'm hot under here. Come on, guys.
Not the last time that will happen in the movie.
That's right. Everybody loves him.
Yep. Ladies can't resist.
Yep. And later that evening, Frankenstein sends her Beach Boys to kidnap Norma as a way to lure Santo to her mansion. They break into her apartment, grab her, and one of the boys ever so gingerly places a note that simply reads Santo in all caps by Norma's lamp. I got a good laugh out of how considerate he was with like the placement of this note.
Yeah, he said, wouldn't it be nice if I did a good job placing this?
The fashion in these movies is insane.
Oh my God, Santo is a style icon.
I dug I know this is like early 70s, so this is really more like maybe like late 60s kind of style, but I enjoyed it, man. The red shirts, like those thick, whatever like material they were wearing, I was like, they should make a comeback.
I have never seen a collar that flared. Yeah, the sweaters in particular are really fucking slick in this whole series. And he wears a lot of cool suits and turtlenecks and stuff.
But also the mask.
My man is fly as hell. And also the mask. And it sets it off perfect.
Yeah, and
he knows how to accessorize.
Mummies of Guanajuato has Mil Máscaras, which is his name means 1,000 masks. So that's his persona, as he just wears a shit ton of different masks, which I found a little bit confusing. I feel like it's kind of a failure in branding to be like, I look different every time you see me.
Yeah, that's a weird
but also afforded a lot of opportunities for sick ass outfits to match the masks. Yeah, back at the lab, Frankenstein and crew are preparing to bring Ursus to life. Yanko and the assistants are twisting knobs and pulling levers. One of the assistants, a man named One Eye, he goes to pull a switch, and Frankenstein's like, "No, dumbass. That's the switch for the lab's 5-minute self-destruct sequence. Pull the other nearly identical switch right next to it instead."
I know that she's like, how many times do I have to tell you this? But put a label on that thing.
Yeah. And like, look, again, far be it for me to criticize the film, but this is just those classic Chekhov self-destruct levers that you see in every play and movie, it feels like. But we got to establish it in the first act because, you know it's going to come back around towards the end.
I also love how he pulls it like 25% down before she tells him to stop. And then he doesn't like put it back to 0. It's just like it kind of leaves it there.
He actually knew, and his death drive is just very strong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's like, I should have stopped me. I dare you to stop me.
It's alive. Ursus lives. Santo and Elsa find the ransom note in Norma's room, and they set off together to go find her. Back at Frankenstein's lab, she and Yanko enter a room filled with old men. And Yanko just kind of, like, he reiterates how the serum works. Like, if you're going to work for us, you get this youth serum. If your quarterly review is anything but exceeds expectations, you're fired. You get no more serum. You'll be old again. And Frankenstein begins injecting the old men one by one. And I wanted to give a shout out to the casting director, but they are uncredited. But every one of these old men looks fucking amazing. I don't know if they're all character actors, if they're random dudes off the street, but they all, like, it's a room of like 8 old men, and they all look completely different old men. There's like a guy with a super long face, a guy with a sick beard and a tattoo.
And they all make great garbled screams.
Yeah. It's almost like as she's injecting them, I don't know what the word for it is, but like a row your boat type song where it like overlaps.
Around.
Yeah. It's like that, where they each have these distinct groans as they get injected. Mm-hmm. It's fucking so good.
One thing that I love about this injection plan, and possibly it's discussed in the previous exposition dump about it, but they also talk about how once you've been taking it for long enough, if she cuts you off, you just die because you're like 130. Mm-hmm. And that is an interesting wrinkle to me, that as you become more and more in her service, it becomes more and more of a weight around your neck, because instead of just being like, okay, well, you'll turn back into an old man and then have 5 or 6 more years before you perish. Now it's like, well, if you stop, you will fall over dead. So, it's an interesting escalation of scope, I think.
And several
Sorry
people
to actually
do.
talk about.
No, and this scene, another instance where perhaps the film could have like been more economical in its filmmaking and filmmaking language, because it really is like showing every step of the process of filling the needle, going over to the guy, going back, filling the needle, going back to the second guy, filling the needle. It was like, wow, okay. Anyway,
how else are we going to get to 85 minutes?
I know. I was like, wow, we're really filling the time here.
This is an 85-minute movie, and it struggles to hit that mark.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, like, couldn't shake the feeling watching this, that this felt like a Scooby-Doo episode of, like, Santo meets this mystery gang or whatever, but then they just, like, stretched it out to, like, an 83-minute movie instead, and it was, like, all this stuff that I was just like, man, you cut this down. This is, like, 30-minute like episode basically.
Bro,
I was just like, Norma's like
that's
Velma.
Every Santo movie. They are,
and I've got news
all
for
just
you.
A Scooby-Doo episode stretched out.
I've got other breaking news. Scooby-Doo cannot hold a candle to Santo. He chokeslammed Fred. Hasn't got up since.
Wow.
Oh no! I'm saying they team up together. Like he's like a guest star, like when they met the Harlem Globetrotters or Batman
Kiss.
or whatever.
God, I would love that.
Yeah, exactly. But I was just like, oh my god! Like Norma is Velma, and her sister Elsa is Daphne, and then I could just see like Fred working with like Santo to try to infiltrate the lair, and then Scooby and Shaggy are getting up to antics, running from all the red shirts and everything. Anyway, it's just like it definitely had that same vibe. So if anyone's never watched a Santo movie but likes Scooby-Doo, you might enjoy this. I just derailed the fucking podcast. I'm really, really sorry.
Or if you're like me and you have no particular feelings towards Scooby-Doo, but you like guys in silver masks, you might enjoy this.
That's true. And I have seen more Scooby-Doo movies than I should have. That was my COVID depression project, was ranking all of the Scooby-Doo movies that existed at the time. And some of them could benefit from the inclusion of Santo. Is all I'm saying.
So One-Eyed and another henchman are discussing the origins of Ursus. Apparently, he was once under the employ of Dr. Frankenstein, but he disobeyed the doctor's orders, and the prescription for such a transgression is gorilla blood. So not only that, but there's like another henchman named Scorpio who disobeyed the doctor, and his serum is set to wear off in just a couple minutes. And so because of that, Frankenstein and Yonko gather all the henchmen in a room to witness Scorpio's serum wear off as a warning to anyone who would dare disobey the doctor. And how would you guys describe this transformation/death scene?
It calls to mind the classic plate transformation of Lon Chaney Jr. in The Werewolf, in The Wolfman for me. You know, it's equally as impressive, equally as groundbreaking, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. That's what immediately leapt to my mind when I watched this.
Yeah.
Rivaled only by the American Werewolf in London transformation as well as being as groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Basically what we're saying is this guy's a wolf man.
They basically just get like some paper mache skin. It's not the best part of the movie, but I guess
I did like how he came in, his hair was already kind of graying. You know, he's kind of like halfway through.
That was a nice touch. Yeah, they were like, we can, we got to show something.
And he does have like he does have some real desperation. Like, I was supposed to get my shot. Like, I'm about to age out. Anyway,
I could have been somebody. I could have been a contender.
So, and then Santo and Elsa are a bit lost. They find themselves in a town.
Hey, just like everybody else watching this movie, am I right, folks?
They find themselves in a town that's all but abandoned, save for the sheriff, whom is another one of Frankenstein's serum-addicted freaks. He tells them that the Frankenstein mansion isn't safe. People say they hear screams in the night, but whatever, go ahead. I'll be waiting for you when you get back.
What a wild interaction. Like, oh, I'm the law enforcement in this town. People talk about all the crazy, wild screams that come from this home at the evening. I've never checked it out, but feel free to go check it out yourself. Like, what fucking wild interaction.
I think at one point he's like, people go in and never come back. Oh, well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why aren't you doing your job, dude?
Cops, am I right? They love to play Candy Crush in the damn car instead of going to see what's up.
And this dude I think his name is Don Elias. He was like, just randomly, while she was injecting old men, was like, hey, let me get my serum. So we know he's bad.
Well, that I kind of understand. Like, you want the cops on your side if you're doing shady shit, you know?
It's the protection racket.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm going to shoot your dog if you don't get me. And she was talking about the gorilla man.
Yeah. Yes. So back at the castle, Ursus is alive and chained to a cave wall, but he's so friggin' strong, he just breaks the chains, and he begins wandering about the caverns. Finds a torch on the wall and recoils. He's instinctively afraid of fire, like a Frankenstein, if you will.
This was some good, some of the better production design, right? They had some good, like, cobwebs and, like, was there like a skeleton in the against the wall or something? And they had some like decent production value here.
They were like, we need to replicate some Frankenstein stuff. This cannot just be namesake only. We gotta get this dude in some chains, breaking them apart, wandering around. It's gotta happen. And you know what? They make it happen. And I do gotta give him props for it.
Yeah.
He busts down the door to the cell in which Norma is being held, and she escapes.
Now, is this the same scene where the one-eyed guy was supposed to go in and like get her eye, or am I confusing that with a different scene?
Not quite yet.
Not
this
yet.
is
Okay,
where
all right.
One Eye grabs that torch and he guides Ursus into a cage using his fear of fire.
Okay. Right.
And so Norma, she's like trying to find a way out of the caverns. Dead bodies, bats, a rat that I'm pretty sure they spray painted gray is in there.
I really enjoyed when the bat is flung out at her.
It's great stuff. You know, it's a treacherous path. She manages to escape. We don't really see how. We just see her pop out of the ground. And Frankenstein and Yonko send their henchmen out into the woods to find her. But instead, they find the man in the silver mask who promptly beats the crap out of them.
Tails all this time.
And it's the first non-sanctioned fight of Santo that we see in this.
Wait until the commissioner hears about this.
I don't know. I feel like this one, it's a little bit lackluster for me.
Mm-hmm.
You guys...
Look, they're like fighting in a graveyard. They could have done more.
Yeah, well, which, to be fair, they do a little bit later in the film. But yeah, this is just, it's more just like picking guys up and tossing them onto the grass, which is on an obvious soundstage like in Mexico where they filmed it.
What?
No.
It was, it suffered from that same first round of the other, of the wrestling match where there's just no dynamism. It's like, the same like kind of wide shot, kind of not much cutting, not much, different variation in your angles or anything. But
well, that kind of coverage would require them doing it twice, and they only wanted to get the shit kicked out of them.
Or having to rent a second camera to get a different angle.
Exactly.
If Santo doesn't have the time to pose for a single shot on the front of a comic book, he does not have time to film these fight scenes twice.
He was the Clint Eastwood of Mexico at this time, it sounds like. He's one and done.
Did we get it? Baby.
Great.
Let's
Why
go.
do we need to do it again?
The only coverage he knows is the luchador mask.
Covering him up for
Nice.
the 3 count. That's his coverage.
Wow. Coverage, more like, covered the span of Universal monsters.
Did he, though? Because, I didn't look.
No. I was struggling. I needed a third one.
If there's one thing that could beat Santo, it would be the creature from the Black Lagoon.
It's true. Water is Santo's
I guess
greatest
that's why
weakness.
he never fought him or the Invisible Man.
Point.
No, he fought the Invisible Man, and you just didn't see it.
All I'm hearing is that you guys are saying Santo ducked the creature from the Black Lagoon, and I think that's slander. I think he would never duck such a strong opponent.
It's not like it was less ducking and more of like a Mickey and Rocky 3 situation. His manager was protecting him.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want him.
So his manager was ducking.
Yeah, and Santo was pissed when he found out. But then his manager died, and it was really sad.
Yeah.
And then he ran around Philadelphia for a little while.
And then he had that crazy rematch where he actually did beat the creature from the Black Lagoon.
That's right. I remember that now.
Yeah.
They were hand-picked, Rock. With the 10-foot of the fences. They were hand-picked. All right, sorry.
No, there's nothing to be sorry for. You're right. That is what happened.
Yeah. Polly was like, you can't train Santo like an aquatic fighter.
Santo was like, shut up, Polly. I'm going to get you an awesome robot in the next movie. The best decision that he ever made. And the worst decision was pulling it out for the director's cut.
Did that ever actually come out? Like, I remember hearing about it.
Yeah, it did. And there's a little bit of good Apollo stuff put back in. But all of the fun things are taken out. And that's actually what I like about the movie. I don't know if people know this, but for me, it's a silly one.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that director's cut.
Yeah, it was like
crazy.
a big thing a couple years ago because he said on Twitter or whatever, like, we're taking the robot out. And it was going to be called...
Yeah, he was like, I hate
like
the
it's
robot.
called Rocky v. Drago or something like that, right?
That's right.
I've
and
never heard of this.
I was quoting Mr. Sly Stallone himself. I love the robot. It's the only robot that I like.
And then Santo and Norma meet up in the woods, but unfortunately, in the fracas, Elsa has now been kidnapped by Frankenstein. And so Frankenstein is holding her at gunpoint, but Elsa shoves the gun away, and another fight breaks out Elsa runs away, but wouldn't you know it, they've kidnapped Norma again.
These women be getting kidnapped in Santo movies.
They sure do. I mean, something that I am like having a vague recollection of from the documentaries is kind of like we have to juxtapose, like, yes, we have Santo. He's the ultimate male, but we also have to have pretty women. We have to have eye candy. So it's very much a lot of damsel in distress stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if this is despite the Norma and Elsa representation, if this is one of the better ones, just because you have such a strong woman character in Fate of Frankenstein compared to other Santos films. But it certainly was like kind of a jarring like lack of agency for like Elsa and Norma, where they're just like always stuck in this like, you know, as you said, damsel in distress mode, unfortunately.
Yeah. Since the initial kidnapping of Norma, there has not been a point into this movie where at least one of them isn't currently kidnapped.
In peril.
How else are you going to have stakes? Come on.
That's true. It was more chloroform than I expected there to be in this movie.
You want stakes? We got the serum of Damocles hanging over 75% of the cast's heads.
Wow. I thought you were going to say, you want steaks? You saw what he ate earlier.
You want steaks? You see what he does to Ursus later on.
Yeah, seriously. I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an Ursus sight.
You want steaks? I watched one of the Santos vs. Dracula movies.
Wow.
That was my no. I kept trying to get that in, and we were all jumping in at the same time.
I stepped on it to get a monster mash in.
It happened like 4 times. You, it's like all of us. I like, you know, Zoom is great. It allows us to do these things, but it certainly is tricky sometimes when everyone's trying to jump in with jokes.
Elsa runs back to the sheriff, who is transforming into an aged old man. He's one of them. And Elsa, she gets thrown into the Hooskow. And back in the caverns, Frankenstein has captured Santo. She has him chained up and she removes his mask. The ultimate shame, as we discussed earlier. She gives him...
What's her line here?
So...
About his appearance?
It was a little weird. I wasn't really sure how to take it. You guys vamp while I look up exactly what it was.
Yeah, it was just the, like, because, again, we spoke before about, like, Norma being like, oh, if you saw him outside the mask, you would be in love too, or whatever. And this was, like, I think the second and last time it happens, where it's like, oh, yeah, here's a woman in this film who sees Santa without the mask and just is, like, in awe of how handsome he is. Because, of course, after she says her line, she comes in for a little smoochie.
She says, "What a pity, your face."
Yes, which, like, at first glance when I read the subtitle, I was like, oh, that's kind of insult. But then I realized, oh, what a pity no one else gets to see this beautiful face because you cover it with a mask.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
And she's going to gouge his eyes out.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, oh, it's either, oh, shit, you're actually ugly, or like, we're about to fuck up this beautiful face. This visage.
I think it's got to be the latter. Got to be.
Yeah.
Man, I could have done the Monster Mash joke here and not stepped all over Brantley's.
She gives him a kiss. She slaps the shit out of him. Join me or die, basically. But she gives Santo the keys to his chains so that he can unbind himself. And she sends Truxon to fight Santo. And boy, did they ever fight. I think... Well, second favorite fight. I feel like the one coming up was my favorite, but he brutally murders this guy with a chain.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, whipping him. Not like puts the chain around his neck and chokes him. No, like, beats him with the chain to death.
I like the idea of him, like, regressing to his rudo ways, despite the turn for the good.
Yeah, I feel like you build up goodwill with the audience. You can go back to that when you need to. You can pull from that. Like,
yeah.
You're up against pure evil. You can't take the they go low, we go high approach to Truxon. You got to get down on his level and fucking slaughter him.
I'm always saying that.
Yeah. I was going to say, this is one of the dirtier fights. This is like a dirt floor cell that he's in, I think. So, like, they both have their shirts off, too. So as they're being, like, tossed around, you're just seeing, like, the dirt and, muddy nastiness, like, getting all over them.
The original Hell in a Cell, am I right?
Yeah.
Wow. Pioneer.
Short.
Fashion and wrestling.
That's right. And then we all remember where we were when Santo threw Mankind off the steel cell at WrestleMania, whatever.
Beat him down with the chains.
That's right. That's right. As God is my witness, that man is dead.
Truck Zone is broken in half. So Norma, who is once again kidnapped, she's in the lab. Frankenstein hypnotizes her and gives her a directive. Go and gouge out Santo's eyes. One-eyed and another henchman escort Norma to Santo's cell to observe. And it's pretty funny how quickly they both bow out of this. One of them's like, I don't like blood. I'm leaving. And then One-Eye's like, oh, this reminds me of when I lost my eye. I'm leaving too.
Yeah, you know what? Brantley, I scoffed a little bit earlier when you were talking about the trauma here, and here it is coming up again. And so I have to just apologize in front of everybody and say you were right and I was wrong.
Well, I'm glad you said it, because honestly, I was going to bring it up again. Like, once again, the trauma rears its head here in this horror film.
That's right, and looks you in the single eye.
Yes. I thought this was actually surprisingly vulnerable of a henchman to say this. And, like,
he's telling anyone who will listen, too.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it gives us a little insight into his character that I was not expecting in this Santo film.
I agree. Like, it kind of throws you for a loop, because you're like, oh, this is like super pulpy, like a pro wrestler is fighting a Frankenstein and a gorilla man. And then in the middle of this, you get this, I don't know.
A second dimension? Yeah. Interiority of my henchman?
Faint hint of a little bit of depth.
And so as Elsa is inching ever closer to Santo's eyes with a knife, he implores her, you can't do this. Our love is stronger than that woman's wickedness. And just then the camera cuts away. We hear Santo let out a scream.
Wow. When I went to go see The Batman, The Batting Man, the newest one with Robert Pattinson, there is a scene about 90 minutes in where he's in the Batmobile and there's like a crash and it cuts to black. And the first time that I tried to see this movie in the theater, the lights came up after that and suddenly the fire alarm went off and we realized that we were being asked to leave. But for a moment, Batman ended 90 minutes in with Robert Pattinson crashing and dying. And that was the end of Batman for me for a while. And every now and then something like this will happen in a movie like Santo versus Frankenstein's daughter, where there will be a knife to the face and then you cut to black and I go, that's the end. He's just dead now. They got Santo. Click. So I have to thank that experience with Batman for amusing me to no end going forward. that now this is a thing that I like to imagine.
George, you probably would have hated being alive in the 40s and 50s and watching like the serials in the theater where like the end of every like 15-minute serial, like Batman is like in peril and probably has died or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's dead until
he's
like
dead.
2 weeks later or a month later, whenever the next serial came out.
I go, how are they making another one? He died. Don't they remember?
Now I'm actually being reminded of the book Misery, where doesn't Kathy Bates' character talk about how like it was BS that like when she was watching one of the serials in the theater or something.
Yeah,
it was like,
that's right.
He went off the cliff in the car. There's no way he like survived that. And yeah,
she's pissed.
That would have been you.
That would have been me.
You'd have been what was?
It's been a minute, but I think that made it into the movie too.
Yeah, that's right.
Was it in the movie too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yep. I definitely remember it from the book. I couldn't remember if it was in the movie.
Well, because it's like it's in the one that he's writing, right? And she's like, you can't kill him, and then he has to switch it, and she's like, that's crazy. He never could have survived that way. And right. I think that's that's how it goes.
And then she recalls it. Yeah.
But where you're wrong, George, is that It's actually Batman Segundo.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
So
I think his name is Robin.
Oh, shit. No, there's multiple Robin Segundo, and isn't there Robin Reyes?
Tercero,
right.
Cuarto. There's a lot of Robins out there.
El Mask de Rojo.
Yep. There's Jean-Paul Valley, who takes over the Batman mantle when Bane breaks his back. And
classic.
Oh, right. So there was
Bane,
a Batman Segundo.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
my bad.
Great connection point as well.
Yeah.
A luchador.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the whole connection.
I mean, he is canonically Latino.
Yeah.
Is he?
A big, incredibly...
Yeah, he is.
Because he's like
yes,
from
he
a
is.
fake
I don't think he's...
island.
Right, but it is in Latin America, I believe.
Maybe culturally Latino, but I'm pretty sure he's like
Yes. I mean, not specifically.
Yeah, but would you say that
Mexican.
a Gothamite is not American? Like a U.S. citizen?
no.
Just because it's
Would
fake.
you say that, Chris?
Would you
They're
say that,
animals and they all need to be locked up in Arkham. That's what
shit.
Gothamites
Wow.
are.
Wow.
Damn.
And you know what? He's right, folks.
Jean-Paul Valley was right. Bruce Wayne was wrong. You don't need decency in order to preserve it. The Charles Bronson way.
We're all saying it all the time.
Well, true.
No, I'm not saying that.
Legit,
I don't
Bane
believe
is
that.
my favorite Batman villain, though. And I say that just... okay, Bane to me, and I'm sorry, again, I'm derailing this podcast, but Bane to me is like the best of the rogues gallery for Batman, because usually the villains either like match up to Batman physically, or they match up to him like mentally, or you have like crazy wild cards like the Joker, who are just like chaos personified. But Bane is like perfect because he's a fucking genius and incredibly strong and can match Batman like physically. So that's why I've always loved Bane, and I just feel so fucking annoyed with the representation he has gotten in like every other like Batman like lore essentially outside of comics. Because like every movie has just
Dark
like
Knight Returns. He's
no, that one sucks. Dark Knight Rises.
Rises.
It seems like he's the genius, and then you find out that he's just like a pawn of Talia al Ghul, essentially, and like didn't escape the prison, which is actually his like fucking lore, is that he really does. So they like screw over his like actual, origin. Anyway,
Watching that would be very painful for you.
Yes. So I was so amped for that movie, and imagine my disappointment when they portray Bane again like that, because for some reason it's like, no, if there's a big strong guy on screen, he's got to be a dumb fucking meathead. He can't have any brains or intelligence to him. But like, he's a fucking genius. Like, he's like in his origin story, he's like playing chess and like destroying all the like scientists and shit on the island in it. Anyway,
yeah.
I mean, that's how he breaks his. That's how he breaks his back. He like runs Batman ragged by like masterminding all this whole plan, and like that's how he's able to destroy him, because he's like so tired and worn down. Bane can easily take him out.
I like Scarecrow because he does fear gas.
Yes,
Clayface just looks badass.
He's got a fun background too. I like Clayface.
Yes.
Hey, this Batman guy, he's got a pretty good rogues gallery, I think.
Mm-hmm.
First person to say that, probably.
You're breaking new ground here, George. I've never heard this before, and you know what? Now that I'm thinking about this, you're right. He does have a great rogues gallery.
Thank you, Mr. Mitzelplex.
Calendar Man.
We love that guy. Calendar Man. He's good. Man. The Mob Italians.
Who's what's the name of the ventriloquist dummy duo that are also in the Bane?
It's Scarface, right? I think it's Scarface.
That might be right.
I think so. And also, Calendar Man is also an Italian because he is one of the Falcones, I believe.
Italian?
Yeah.
He's not Italian. He's another one of Anna's, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We need to get the
Another
ADL on
Italians
this. This seems like a problem.
No. This is like the one like group we can like poke fun at. It's okay.
As an Italian myself, I declare it to be okay.
Okay. As someone who grew up thinking he was Italian, I also declare it to be okay.
Yeah, and I declare that to be okay.
I've
as well.
been to Olive Garden. I'm going to say it's okay.
Hey, when you're there, you're family, baby.
So basically, Brantley, Santo is the Bane you always had dreamed of and wished
it's true.
for.
He is.
I mean, he kind
a
of
detective and a force to be reckoned with.
And his PR levels in his blood make him incredibly powerful.
That's right. And it's just like Venom.
Yes. Psych with the knife and Elsa and Santo, he broke the hypnosis. He confronts Frankenstein in her lab. But lucky for the doctor, Ursus is ready to fuck some shit up. He and Santo go at it.
Ursus is ready.
Yeah, they fucking wreck this lab. Santo fucking hits him in the face with what seems to be a chair that is cast out of solid metal.
I'm telling you, man, this is why they didn't do any coverage. Just because he's like, I'm going to hit you with a chair.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Santo and Norma escape once again, and
ooh, that sounds like another knockoff. Santo and Norma
escape once again. That's the sequel to Santo and Norma Escape. I mean, the translation's a little clunky when you move it to English, but
yeah, you just go, "Oh, huge Santo." That doesn't sound good.
So they're on their way back to town to find Elsa, but Norma just sprains her ankle. And so they rest in a cemetery. Wouldn't you know it, that bastard Ursus emerges from a crypt. Santo kicks his ass again and possibly kills him this time by impaling him on a metal post.
These Ursus don't learn.
They really don't.
This was like the one, like, slightly gory, kind of bloody thing in the film, and it's not as bad as I was expecting it to be. I think was all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it, but I think this is like where I'm like, okay, my perfect Santo film I haven't seen yet, because I'm like, I want him to take it further. Like, I want him to be Peter Jackson's Dead Alive. Like, he's just, his TR level is so high that he's ripping off arms and shit like that.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Unfortunately, this is among the goriest of the ones that I've seen. So I fear that the times may not have met our hopes, but who knows? That's the beauty of Santo, is that there are so many to explore. It's possible that one of them is, heads exploding and stuff.
So, Chris, in like the perfect version of this death in the Santo film that you want to watch is Urso falls through. We get that like metal pole comes through, except instead of just fully poking out and just being blood on it, it's like his heart is literally at the tip of it and is like still pumping a little bit and blood squirting out. That's what you wanted. Just a little ridiculousness.
I'm kind of thinking like a Roadhouse, like Ursus is like, me fuck guys like you in prison, and Santo just like rips his throat out.
Yeah, he says, "Be nice."
Oh, jeez.
Fucking, yeah, tears that shit out. Norma's like fucking vomiting in the corner. She's like, Jesus.
Loses all his fucking attraction to Santo. Seeing him do that.
Until the next time he takes off his mask, and she's like, oh, that's why
true.
I'm with him.
That's why.
But also, I'm just thinking another difference between Mexican pro wrestling and American pro wrestling is that Mexican rings do not have like the springs, like they're not spring reinforced. So that like
the floor.
That
okay.
Can't think of a word. It informs the fighting style, but also it's like, goddamn,
sure, that
shit must fucking hurt.
Well, I mean, it definitely still seemed fairly padded. I mean, like the move, like that. I don't remember if it's called the flying scissors or the scissor, whatever it was. I mean, he does that in a way where he's still landing on his back after he like throws his opponent. So, it seems like there's got to be enough protection and give there to let you land safely and do these sorts of moves repeatedly.
Well, I think there's a difference between safely and enjoyably.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the damage you take in the ring is the enjoyable part. I think it's performing in front of the crowds of people who are cheering or jeering at you. That is what gets you excited.
No, it's got to be about landing on your back and on the mat there.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like the wrestlers who would pull the razor blades out and like cut their forehead? That was what they really enjoyed in the ring.
Yeah,
not the.
They're like, this is the good stuff. This is what it's all for, baby.
Oh, I stand corrected. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
El Santo's a serious professional. He's a high flyer of the highest magnitude.
That's right. I'm laughing, imagining it being like, all right, time to cut myself, and it just like goes through the mask and doesn't actually touch him, and just like a little cotton springs out.
Also, like,
that's good.
When I was watching these documentaries, the crowd is pretty rowdy, like just calling them assholes, like chanting assholes seems to be a pretty common. They're like, culeros. It's good stuff.
That's great.
Well, maybe they should stop being such assholes then.
Yeah, fucking El Toro.
Yeah.
Fucking imagine you're in a 1950, like the audience of a 1950s wrestling match. People are yelling assholes to the wrestlers and stuff. It seems like it's just a great time. Sounds
Famously,
like a blast.
Everyone's mental state is perfect in 1950.
Yeah, of course. Have I not mentioned to you, like, I think, like, we need to go back. We need to make America great like it was before. Have I not discussed these views with you guys?
You haven't mentioned it before, but, that does align. No, it was funny. I recently had been reading a bunch of Salinger stuff, and you're just like, man, World War II really fucked people up, man. Like, they really just did a number on these dudes. Even the ones who made it out the other side. Truly fucked up forever.
I mean, it feels like every decade or two, every generation's got that war that's fucked them up like forever, you know? Some of the others who are just too young for World War II got Korea. The boomers got Vietnam. Some Gen X folks got the very brief Gulf War, but still, there was like some lasting damage from that. And millennials got, Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
It's a circle of life.
It's worked out so well for us that we should just keep this industrial complex going, I think.
I'm glad you said agreed, George. I can't think of a better way to run this country than the way we currently do.
I can. More foreign wars.
Oh, well, I did not consider this.
I stand corrected.
There's a lot of money being left on the table.
True.
There's 215 some odd countries in this world.
Yeah, we could be starting almost a war a day for a calendar year.
Yes, so
we've thrown you off, Chris. I'm so sorry.
Last thing that happened was he got stabbed.
Yeah,
through the chest
he's impaled on a metal post, Ursus, which
we got there.
Yeah, it's like I don't know why his name is that because that's like Greek.
He's a bear. He's a big bear guy.
Is it Greek or Latin? Either way, like you said, bear, big bear guy. It seems like
he had bear blood injected into him, like the gorilla man.
Seems like he could have been called like the monster.
No.
So Santo and Norma, they arrive back in town to find that Elsa has already escaped the sheriff, but unfortunately Santo's car is all fucked up, so they can't escape. And that's my favorite thing. It was like when I was talking earlier, Santo in another movie being in an office, making phone calls. I like that he has a car. Like, yes, he's a superhero, but he also just has a regular car. It's a nice car, but he
has a horse in the Western one as well.
He drives around in a car.
Convertible too, right?
Yeah. I
mean, he still has his style iconography to uphold.
That's also true. It's hot as shit. And when he's driving, you got under that mask.
Yeah.
You got to get some circulation. This was the 70s, so they didn't have air conditioning in cars. His car is all fucked up. Santo needs Elsa and Norma. He sends Elsa and Norma for help, leaving them in the care of some random dude in a truck that he's a dead ringer for Burton Gilliam from Blazing Saddles.
I was thinking he looks like Richard Nixon to me.
Oh, shit. Let me back 15 and look at him.
he looked kind of, like Tricky Dick.
And he promised them he's not a crook. So,
Burton Gilliam meets Richard Nixon in Mexico, but it's like, everyone in this town is bad, but this dude's a fan of Santo, so it's like, he can't possibly be bad. It's physically impossible.
That's
physically,
right.
spiritually.
I also like in the lead up to this, when he gets to the road with Elsa and Norma, he's like, I'm sure a car will be along soon. I'll send you off with them to get help or whatever. And then, of course, a car just drives up right after that. It's just
right.
I mean, he is right. It's just like, wow, his powers of perception are quite amazing.
His Santo sense is tingling.
Yes, yeah.
I was like, they just turn to him. They go, yeah, we can hear it too. It's right over that hill.
So Santo returns to the graveyard to find that Ursus is still alive. And Santo bandages the brute and says, if you're still alive when I get back, I'll help you get out of here. Like, I
do like this. He's like, you know what? I did what I could. Here's a handkerchief.
Yeah.
It's simultaneously like touching and very callous. Like,
yeah.
I'll bandage you up, but like, que sera, sera. If you're fucking dead, like, let the chips land where they may.
He's like, I'm mostly disappointed that I didn't do a good enough job to just finish you off right there.
Yeah, it's kind of probably like a Rock contractually can't lose a fight. Like Santo contractually will not be responsible for the murder of anyone in his films.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
True.
And into the lair, Santo goes to face off with the doctor. She's on her last leg. The serum is wearing off. She collapses. But as Santo is creeping through the caverns, a mummy shoots out some knockout gas from its eyes, and Santo is disabled.
Truly delightful.
Yeah. That's what you want to see in this kind of movie. Is some knockoff James Bond stuff. And
it also, again, when you make the Scooby-Doo comparison, this is why. This is what we're talking about, folks.
So Freda's henchmen go to collect Santo, but Ursus intervenes. It's a fucking tag team for the ages. Frankenstein has Norma and Elsa in her lab, and just as she's about to pour sulfuric acid into Norma's eyes, the man in the silver mask appears, and his new partner is in tow to kick the shit out of Yanko.
What do you think's up with her obsession with eyes? What do we think that deal is?
I feel like
that's a good question.
The eyes are the mirror of the soul, to paraphrase. She doesn't like looking in the mirror. If they don't have eyes, no one can see how wrinkly her forearms are.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, shoot.
But also, that would suck to have sulfuric acid poured into your eyes.
Oh my God. I mean, that's got to be top 5 worst things to happen, I got to imagine.
Yeah, when I think of things I don't want to happen, it's sulfuric acid, scalpels in the eyes.
Yeah, that's bad news. Brantley is quiet because he does want sulfuric acid in the eyes, right?
I wanted to agree, but then I was just like, I feel kind of good.
You were like, it's better for me to say nothing than to come out and be like, actually, I think it would be cool.
I know. I've now revealed that I actually do secretly want sulfuric acid in my eyes.
Well,
no, I was thinking
I'm such a great journalist, and I held your feet to the fire in such a way that there was really no option for you.
Took him to task. There's no yellow journalism on this podcast.
Well, I'm just going to spin it by calling it a gotcha question, and I was trapped, and this is just the typical leftist journalist gotcha questions, trapping me.
To be quite frank, nasty question, George. I can't even believe you asked it, but
I'm sorry.
Truly. I'm revoking your White House press detail and badge. No, I was wondering, one eye, do we presume that One Eye lost his eye because Frankenstein did it as a? Maybe I missed it in the movie. It was specifically said, but I have to imagine she just goes after eyes as
I think that's why he fears her so much.
So
yes, yeah.
I was kind of thinking that, but then it's with how brutal her other punishments are, just taking one eye seems to be kind of light for her. Because
he's top henchman.
What we see in this is inject you with gorilla blood or let you die, let you revert to your old man self.
Well, maybe this was just a minor.
Got her the wrong donut or something.
We were both doing the same thing. I was like, maybe this is just a minor infraction. He interrupted her or something.
You didn't say God bless you when I sneezed.
That's right. Yes. So you lose one eye. Wow, you guys just took a little sip in unison. I felt left out.
Well, that's why I have to have 2 guests, because 2 people taking a sip at the same time, common. 3, that's syzygy. That's the planets aligning. It's never going to happen. So we needed you to fill that dead air.
Except I was too busy just watching it happen instead of vamping. Now I'm going to get in on it. I'm going to take a sip, everybody.
Woo! Party.
Yeah, so there's like a struggle. Frankenstein is like, hey, Ursus, go fuck this. Like, go get Santo. But Santo's like, hey, she's responsible for your horrible life. Go get her instead. And
it's hard to argue with that.
And Ursus, to his credit, doesn't argue with that. He just strangles the doctor, which gives Santo enough time to untie the ladies. But Frankenstein pours the acid onto Ursus's face. And as he stumbles around the lab, he bumps into the aforementioned horribly placed self-destruct switch.
Dude, I hate when people are bumping into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at least in most movies, it's like a red button with like the clear acrylic cover over it that you have to pop open. You can just
really commit.
Bump into this.
You know, I want to criticize it, but I'm realizing at the top of my stairs coming down to the basement, there's both a light switch and then a red switch, which is like to turn off the... Essentially, it's for like the boiler, like to turn off like the boiler if there's something wrong with it. And on more than one occasion, I have accidentally flipped the wrong switch. So I feel like I can't cast aspersions on this film if I've done that myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I've never touched the self-destruct switch in my home, so I will cast aspersions.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. You get an old house like I or Brantley live in, you get these architectural quirks, and she's the daughter of Frankenstein, so this mansion is potentially hundreds of years old. They didn't have OSHA or inspecting bodies at that point, so...
Oh, they had inspecting bodies, all right.
Touche.
Fucking got him.
Because of the corpses,
yes.
you see.
Yeah. And like then taking the parts for them and put together to make like a Frankenstein.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I'm just worried, Chris. I'm just worried you didn't get. You understand what we're talking about?
We're actually connecting it because of the wordplay.
Mm-hmm.
Frankenstein lays unconscious on the laboratory floor. She's reverted back to her old lady self, and I guess I think she died at this point.
Sure, we established the threat of, hey, if you don't get the serum, you're gonna croak.
Much earlier in the
she's
film,
wasted on her own petard.
She shows Yanko a picture of herself being very decrepit, and she's like, "Well, that was 30 years ago. Imagine what would happen now."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say, not since Little Big Man has there been such amazing old age makeup in a film. I was blown away with the transformation into her very old dead self here.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the famous plate transformation in The Wolfman in terms of, you know, the way that it was groundbreaking and really forward-looking, or maybe even American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, I was going to say...
Damn it, sorry.
Followed only by the transformation in American Werewolf in London. I'm glad you did both call back for the two of us, George.
Sorry.
No, it's perfect.
I was rushing.
It was great. You did awesome.
There were definitely... I can't remember which episode or what context it was. It's like some House of Horrors from The Simpsons where it just like cuts to an old woman where she just says, "Behold, the ravages of age." And I said that mentally probably a dozen times in this movie. It's not really horrific. It's just like, wouldn't being old be fucked up?
Yeah.
You know, I just also want to point out here that, you know, the idea of being old, being fucked up. We saw an Academy Award-nominated horror film and performance by Demi Moore this
I thought you were going to say
in a horror
Shyamalan, The Beach That Makes You Old.
Oh,
that's right, baby.
No, but that's a good point. But I guess what I'm saying is that, you know, this film being so much about trauma, that fear of aging, like Dr. Frankenstein obviously has, I guess what I'm just saying is the substance obviously stole a bunch of shit from this movie. It just cribbed it all, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. It is interesting to me that they're like, it feels like they're like, well, it's hard to do the dominion over death by making new life, so we'll do it by elongating someone's life and euthaning them. But then they also do the corpse reanimation. It's like, what is this?
And they also
the Frankenstein element
do an island of Dr. Moreau of like, let's just
animals and humans.
What if we put gorilla blood in this dude?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird decision that appears in both Frankenstein versus Santo movies. He has a youth serum for his workers in that one as well. And
essentially what we're saying is, the Santos films has it all. You want Island of Dr. Moreau, it's here. You want a classic Frankenstein, it's here. You want elongating one's life with science, it's here. It's got it all.
You want a guy in a silver mask, shirtless, wearing slacks and wingtips? We've got that
doing the classic.
Genuinely, yes. Finally, genuinely, yes.
But also doing the classic older but kind of heavy guy thing where like that, it's right at his belly button, like kind of covering the bottom of the stomach, hiding maybe how big your stomach is. Trust me, I know this move, okay? I've done this a time or two.
Punch on El Santo.
Yes, because
he looks great.
There's only a punch.
He was not young at this point. He was born in 1917. So,
oh shit, he's older than I thought. I thought he looked great.
Almost 60. What, like 55?
He's like 55.
Well, he's got that TR factor that you're forgetting about.
That's true. I was thinking he was maybe like 50-ish, so I guess he is a little bit older than I was like anticipating in this. But yeah, like for 55, dude looks great.
I'm not 55 and I don't look like that, so.
Yeah, that's right. This is what I was saying before. In Frankenstein movies, we need more ugly representation, and Santo is not pulling his weight there.
He's a daunting Adonis.
Yeah.
There you go.
The women can't help but smooch him, even his worst enemies.
Yes. Considering the hard living of our, older generations, too, like, that really even speaks even more to how great he looks. A 55-year-old now from, like, L.A. with money, it's like, yeah, sure, you can look as good as Santo here. But a guy born in 1917 looking this good at 55? That's an achievement.
Yeah.
Well, what you don't know is that the inside of his mask is lined with facial cream.
Shit!
Moisturizer, the whole regimen is there, just seeping into his body at all times.
Counteracts the lead and microplastics.
Yeah, and that's what they call TR factor.
Yeah, she's Yonko cries over Dr. Frankenstein's body. Ursus runs around holding his face and screaming. The lab blows up. Very, very funny when you are watching this on 2x speed to take notes, as I did. It was good. It was good shit.
I believe it. I definitely believe that.
Yeah.
The heroes escape, and we're treated to one final wrestling match. You guessed it. It's the World Medium Weight Championship against Yamaguchi. You thought that wouldn't come up again, but it did.
Hey, let me tell you, Chris, I did think it would come up again.
Another 5+ minute wrestling match, I believe.
Yeah,
basically.
But
gotta give the people
Elsa
what they want.
and Norma are here in person to watch it rather than just via TV. They're fucking going crazy. You already know he wins that shit. Credits.
What? Shocking.
Santo versus Frankenstein's daughter.
One thing I wish they had at the at the end of oh god, what was it? Like sometimes they did it in James Bond, but there's some other kind of films where it'd be like, Bond will return in da-da-da.
Yeah.
I wish it was like Santo will return in, but I didn't get that. I was really kind of hoping that it'd have it.
Big full moon thing. They used to do that, at least with Puppet Master, but also
yeah.
Santo will return in Evil Bong 3.
I feel like Kevin Costner did that for the Yellowstone or whatever, like Yellowstone, but totally not Yellowstone,
Frontier.
but his Yellowstone movie.
The movie
that bombed pretty hard.
We all know it. We're not going to pull the name, but we all know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
it was Chapter 1. It was called Chapter 1, wasn't it?
Horizon?
Yeah,
is it Horizon?
And I was like,
we're not going to pull the title, he says, before pulling the title.
Is that the whole title? I feel like it's only a piece of it.
It's like Horizon...
Zero Dawn.
Something Saga Chapter 1, right?
All right. I am going to have to just look it up. I'm sorry.
I had no interest. I've never seen any of the Yellowstone shit. I don't think Kevin Costner is actually good at acting at all. Like,
Wow, fucking
An
bombs
American
dropped over here.
saga. An
American saga.
But when I heard that he called his shot and did that in a movie that failed miserably, I was like, I respect it. Still haven't seen it.
I mean,
but
yeah.
This guy
I haven't
loves
seen
to make big bombs. It's his favorite activity.
I haven't seen Megalopolis either, and for all intents and purposes, that's also. I mean, it was a bomb, but it's also ridiculous. But I mean, there is something like endearing about someone who has a shit ton of money, but is still like an artist and wants to like fund their own project. Because I feel like you have so many directors who have these passion projects that just never come to be because they either don't have the resources or aren't willing to put their own money into it. But like, I kind of have a bit of respect for like a Costner or a Ford Coppola who's like,
or the successful version, M. Night Shyamalan.
Or M. Night Shyamalan, who's just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to put like 40 plus or $100+ million of my own money into making this film or series of films, regardless of, how well they do.
Yeah, he still should have made it good, though.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing, but like, there's a begrudging respect that someone's putting their money where their mouth is.
Has anyone seen Horizon?
No, I saw Megalopolis. I didn't see.
I think
Horizon.
I started watching it and did not.
So we can't say it's not good.
I feel like I could say it.
That's true.
I'm
kind of interested because
Horizon is not good.
There's Austin Archer is in the first and second chapters of it. I know him from like I guess he's a content creator or whatever online, but I enjoy him a lot, and he's an actor too, and he's in it, so I was kind of interested.
Well, since you like him, I won't say content creator as actor does not fill me with hope for its quality.
I mean, he does a lot of stuff, but like, I mean, he was an actor, period. But like, also does. Anyway, look, again, I'm derailing the fucking podcast again, Chris. Sorry.
Let's get back on track. We all know that Brantley loves
If you guys want to talk about the Postman, let's do that.
He always rings twice, I hear. I could talk about Megalopolis because that was a huge disappointment for me. No one wanted to like that movie more than yours truly. I went into it being like, here we fucking go, boys. And, instead I walked out being like, Grandpa's trying. He wants to be right, but he's kind of on the wrong side of things still. It's very very Ayn Randian, I felt.
I mean, I feel like that's going to be like, I'm going to have the same thing of you because like I would want to love that movie too. And I'm sure I'm going to feel the same way because all I hear is like, you either hate it or you love it or you love it because it's so ridiculous. And,
Ayn Randian in the sense that by putting up his own money, he had a vested self-interest in the film.
Certainly, that feeling seems to have seeped into the messaging of the movie. But there is a great moment in it where Adam Driver says, "So go back to the club," and he says it in a really weird voice. And
I have seen that clip.
Yeah, that's probably the best part of the movie.
Okay. Wait. Doesn't John Voight talk about his boner?
Yeah, that's also a fun part. That's also a fun part.
Okay.
Our Hollywood czar.
Yes. Yeah, he's there's something that kills me about an artist who's like a terrible person but really good at their craft. I watched Ali again recently, and he's really fucking good as Howard Cosell, and I kind of am just like, God damn it, like from everything I know, you suck as a person, but you are really good at acting, and it's just is like, why? Why do some people have that like innate talent, even if they're awful people?
Something that I admire about John Voight, if we're gonna say nice things about him, is that he's always willing to make an insane decision, like his little haircut in Heat, or like in Runaway Train, where he's got a crazy accent and he's constantly calling people sucker. You go, you know what?
Well, speaking of
God bless, man.
Speaking of crazy accents, the one he puts on in Anaconda is also insane.
He is crazy. That guy is crazy.
Yes.
Runaway Train, interesting movie.
Oh God. Yeah.
What's the other guy's name? Eric Roberts. He's the one in it,
going
right?
Full of mice and men. It's so good. You was a
really
hero. Kurosawa.
Is that still the only
script.
canon film?
Yeah, it is. It got nominated.
For Best Picture, right? Yeah.
I don't remember what the nomination was for, but it definitely
Probably
got an Oscar
script because of
nomination.
Kurosawa.
Probably script.
Okay. All right.
But it's funny. I watched that and I was like, wow, this is really crazy and fun. And then I went to go watch the Denzel Washington Runaway Train movie. And I was like, man, this movie sucks compared to the other one because it doesn't have all the crazy decisions. It's just Denzel Washington being charismatic. And I said, I don't need this to be on a runaway train.
Yeah.
I could watch Eric Roberts and John Voight being lunatics for that.
I went and listened to the Soul Asylum song Runaway Train, and I was like, no.
Never going back.
Nope.
All right. I have the nominations. You ready? There's 3 Academy Award nominations for Runaway Train.
Let's hear it.
Best Actor in a Leading Role, John Voight.
Johnny V. Sucker.
There he is. Best Actor in a Supporting Role, Eric Roberts.
Eric Roberts, too. Incredible. The talking cat himself.
I disagree.
And then
should have been John P. Ryan, because he's the villain in that movie.
Yeah.
And then Best Film Editing. So it did not get a Best Picture nomination like I thought.
That's crazy.
No, not even script either.
That is crazy. Yep. I'm genuinely surprised about that.
I'm sure some other canon films have probably gotten noms, maybe like song or score or something like that. But that is that was their most critically acclaimed film.
I feel like,
but no one took it seriously because it was canon.
They gave a special award to Death Wish for the Crackdown because of how important it was to us as a culture.
Achievement Award, I believe. Yeah.
Well, just for that series, depiction of race relations over time, they were just it's done such an amazing job. So
they actually fixed racism.
There's one thing you can say about canon films is that they're very sensitive to the topics of the time.
Agreed. That's the America I want to bring us back to. That sort of sensitivity that they.
You want the 50s to meet the 80s.
Joke about that. Yes.
Yeah. Santo versus Frankenstein's daughter, singular. Although I'd like to leave room for a second daughter that could show up.
The other 2 women could have been secret Franken daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts, gentlemen.
Maybe they'd have had a bit more agency.
But Brantley, this was your first Santo film.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
This was a fun introduction to Santo. Yeah, look, did it meander at times? Sure. Did it show us way more information than it needed to at times? Of course. Was it fun and pulpy and silly and enjoyable and a great time? Also, yes. So yeah, I had a good time overall with this. I was a little shocked when he was just at Norma's house after she was kidnapped, just still wearing his mask, interacting with people. That was definitely oh, right. Yeah, he's just got this mask on all the time, not just in the ring. Okay.
That actually is his face.
Yeah. So it was a little shocking. But once you get into it and into the groove, you're all right, this is a blast. And there was a lot of fun stuff. As we discussed, a really great role for Fredo Frankenstein here for an actress, which was nice to see in comparison to Norma and Elsa, unfortunately. And some of the henchmen get a little bit more depth than you would have expected, so that's kind of fun. It was a great time, and only 83 minutes, so you're not committing too much to a Santo film.
Beautiful. George, you're the Santo expert. How does this measure up?
Oh boy.
Well, I mean, comparatively, I think I've seen 3 Santo films and Brantley's seen 1. You've watched more than 3 this week. So how does this measure up in terms of Santo films?
It's not the most campy and it's not the most well executed, but it's also not at the bottom of the scale on either of those things either. This one is kind of right in the middle for me. The problem is for me that the other Frankenstein one that came out 2 years later truly is just this movie again, but with another charismatic wrestler in the mix. So it doesn't have Fredo Frankenstein, which is a wonderful name that makes me laugh every time. Yeah. But I do think Blue Demon makes up for it. And so I'm like, if I were going to revisit one, I was thinking about this today. It's like, if I were to revisit one, it probably would be Santo and Blue Damon versus Frankenstein, as opposed to Frankenstein's daughter. But, it's nice to have both. I'm not kicking it out of bed for eating crackers.
Who would?
Yeah. It's fine movie. And like I said at the very beginning, they're sleepy in a way that I like. You can get locked in on them, but they're also kind of nice for folding laundry too, or sorting Magic the Gathering cards too.
Neither
or
of
doing
which you
any number
definitely
of things.
did.
Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't. I would never. But hypothetically.
I'm surprised you can do that, because I feel like anytime I'm watching a foreign language film, I kind of have to be locked in to be focused on the subtitles and the, understanding what's going on. So I feel like if I was folding laundry, I'd be even more lost than I was watching it.
I do admit, I am typically a subs guy, and I watched the subtitled version of this one, but the box set that I have is of dubs.
Okay, gotcha.
Those are in English. Although, interestingly, I looked into what the dubbing was done. They are done by a Mexican company, and it is all Mexican voice acting. It just is in English.
Gotcha.
So, they're charming still. It has a little bit of the lost in translation piece of things sometimes, which, is fun with these kind of movies. Helps to add to the pulpiness in a lot of the ways. So I can understand someone who has a connection to these movies deep in their family history, when they're like, oh, I was reading reviews for the box set, and they're like, my grandpa used to watch Santo movies on TV all the time, so it sucks that these are in English as opposed to Spanish, because there's just not even an option for it. They are just in English on that set. And they're like, so if I want to watch these with him, it has to be in English, which is bad. So I get that, but for me, that's acceptable for this set of movies. Would I prefer if they were... I would definitely prefer if I had the option. But I also don't know that I'm like, oh man, I bet that Santo's performance in the original language is insanely good and I'm missing out. I just feel like if I were to watch these for the kind of movies they are, where I want to be possibly folding laundry or something, that a dub might work better in that particular instance. So I do agree with you, but there are opportunities.
Yeah.
There you have it.
I mean, it's, I don't know, the whole dub versus sub argument, it's kind of interesting. I feel like for me, it's always the context in which I first saw something. And so as an adult, I do choose to watch the most original version of something. But as a kid, it's kind of like you were talking about, sometimes with Godzilla films, the dub is all you had. So
yeah,
I find it less offensive when I'm watching Godzilla films, and that's actually kind of part of it. Or anime back in the 90s, you watched a dub. Oftentimes it was terrible. Yeah. You had no option. Yeah. So it's with the movie Akira in particular, the original dub for it is known to be pretty shitty, but that's what they played on the Sci-Fi Channel. That's how I first watched it. So it's yes, are the names pronounced more correctly in the more recent dub? Sure. But that's not how I saw it and fell in love with it.
And I'm not really as informed on this as you guys are, but dub versus sub, that's dubstep music versus the substitute movie franchise, right? That's the big clash that they have, right?
That's right. And Skrillex was huge right as I got to college, so I just have always been a dubs guy.
Yeah, I mean,
God, come on.
Me and Brantley are a few years older, so it's when we were in college, Treat Williams was huge.
I mean, he was everything.
Yeah, that lines up. He was something of a treat.
It was a Williams Wednesday in my dorm room. We were throwing on one of the substitute sequels every Wednesday, if not marathoning them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, George and Brantley are kind of, this is a lazy Sunday afternoon movie. It really is. I want to say at least one of these has been featured on MST3K, and that's kind of their milieu, is those what I would like a Zot or pick your poison, Gorgo.
I mean, Zot is just great.
But you can fold laundry
also,
too.
Gorgo is just great. Wait, you have to... Sorry, Chris. You just picked two very good movies.
Merlin's Mystical Shop of Wonders.
Okay, there we go. Now we're talking.
Overdrawn at the Memory Bank.
Imagine, if you will, Santo in a pharmacy, tearing things off the walls. It pans down. He's wearing tennis shoes.
No, he's too good. He would never do that. But yeah, it is that like type of movie. And that's not, none of us, I think I can speak for all three of us when it's like, that's not an insult. It's like, that's the type of movie. And I think you would be doing yourself a disservice to watch the MST3K version, because if you do that, you're going in with the preconception like that this is somehow inherently shitty, which it's not. Like I've seen a lot worse movies than this. Like it's pretty solid. There's some decent photography. You're going to see some wrestling matches. You're going to see pretty women. You're going to see questionable age makeup. You're going to see a Frankenstein, but also you're going to see a gorilla dude. And you're going to see our masked wrestler fight both of those things. And you're going to see him also fight guys dressed like the Beach Boys for some reason.
Look, say what you will. Santo was verse Frankenstein's daughter. It delivered. This movie delivered on everything you could want. Like you said, you see two big dudes, two big servants of Frankenstein's daughter. You go, I hope Santo fights those guys. Yeah, of course he's going to fight both of them. You see a big red switch that they're like, hey, don't touch that because it's going to blow up our lair. Of course they're going to blow up the lair. All of these things where it's like, okay, we're going to set up this domino because we got to knock them down. Like everything that it sets up, it pays off in a way that works over and over and over again in this franchise. That's exactly what it does. It just executes. It just goes, baby.
It does. It really does. And when you say two henchmen, it's actually just one because they're played by the same guy.
Okay. Same guy. And also there was the third henchman, Old One Eye, who had that little bit of interiority. We can't forget him.
Yeah. And Stacy Keach, Dr. Yanko.
Yep. The memorable cast of characters.
Of other henchmen.
Yeah. Memorable cast of characters.
Yeah, I mean, like, going back to something I was saying earlier, like, I wish the casting director was credited because it's, yes. For the most, like, 90% of the characters in this are very distinct. And it's not like there's only 3 or 4 characters. There's about 12 of them, 8 of which are random old men. But I can see them all in my mind's eye right now. It's good stuff. But yeah, that was Santo versus Frankenstein's daughter. Thank you guys for coming on and breathing life into this dead format with me. I know the last time you guys were on the show, I promised that we would talk about a documentary, but I haven't been able to crack it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But
wait, this isn't a documentary?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, I really need to reassess what I thought about it.
He's a folk hero, so this is true in the same sense as the story of George Washington cutting down a cherry tree.
I see. It's more of a biopic in that they're allowed to exaggerate.
It's emotionally true, if not factually true.
That makes sense. Okay, I like it.
Yeah, I swear I have you guys marked down documentary with George and Brantley for next season, so we'll ping some ideas around on that, but other than that, just tell the fine folks where they can find you and anything you've got in the works.
I mean, I guess I'll go first because my answer is nothing and nothing. So, find me on Letterboxd. So that's the only publicly facing thing that I have. And if you're, I'll say go and join the 5-Day Rentals Discord because I'm active in there. And if you want to talk to me, that's a good place to do it. And then you can also listen to a nice podcast, 5-Day Rentals.
Yeah. Follow Laundry Dan on Letterboxd also. Tell him how wrong all of his opinions are.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing more delightful than getting to log on and say, oh boy, Dan did another one.
Go to that activity tab, start.
Yeah, I'm rubbing those hands together.
Eating good tonight.
I'm ready to take him to task. Criterion Dan, they call him.
That's great. I second listening to the 5 Day Rentals podcast. They're a great bunch of dudes. I think people should check them out because it's a very fun, very funny podcast. And follow Kron and Bones on Letterboxd as well. I think all three of them are on there.
Tell them.
So while you're following
their
Dan,
opinions are good. So
sure. But while you're following Dan, you can see the dichotomy between the different ratings.
Good and
I guess.
bad opinions.
Yeah. Look, you can follow me on Letterboxd too. That's great. I have social media accounts. Like I'm on Instagram. You can find me at brantley.palmer. I'm not really posting a lot. I also literally have an app on my phone that stops me from accessing things like Reddit and Instagram and other time-wasting things. So try not to be on them very much. That includes Discord too. So throughout the week, I literally am blocked from being on there so I can actually focus on doing things I need to do instead of wasting time. But my first documentary is available. You can watch it on Tubi or Plex or a couple other places. It's called Everything to Entertain You, The Story of Video Headquarters. If you like documentaries about video stores, what made them so great, why we've lost this cultural touchstone in our society, since we don't have them anymore, you maybe will enjoy that. Maybe not. Some people who did also rated it poorly on Letterboxd. So who knows? Maybe you will have a lot better time watching a Santos movie than mine. But it's available if you want to check it out. And I am hopefully we'll be back on here talking about my second documentary when it's ready. Hopefully we're going to be picture locked by the end of November here, and then working on the rest of posts before having it ready to go by next year. But we shall see. So yeah.
And to be fair, you are working on getting Santo Segundo into your documentary. So, maybe one day they'll be able to enjoy both at the same time.
It has delayed it a bit trying to get the sit down interview. He's got a long list of demands, a big writer to get him here to do an interview. So yeah.
Well, I know that he's got a big writer because I saw him in that Western one.
Oh, nice job. Well done.
Folks.
Oh, I should say, while the podcast has been on hiatus for a while, you can also listen to Horror Drafts if you want to listen to me on a podcast I co-hosted. That's around. That's available. Still ticking if you want to listen to those.
Absolutely.
Don't listen to my show. Don't do it.
Unless me or Brantley is on that episode. Then listen to it.
Yeah, those are the only episodes that you can go listen to.
And people should definitely, if they're going to listen to mine, listen to, I think it's episode 14, but it was about kaiju films because George was on that episode.
Wow.
And then Chris, I'm blanking on the episode number it was, but you were on an episode as well, so they should definitely search out those two episodes.
Yep, I will say you two were originally, I was like, oh, we're going to do a kaiju episode with them again, but then Greg and Murph were like, hey, we love kaiju. And then I start seeing George
scooped it up,
logging a shit ton of Frankenstein movies on Letterboxd. So I'm like, well, maybe we just swap those two.
Well, Frankenstein is something of a kaiju.
I mean, especially if you watch the Toho films where he is literally a kaiju fighting Baragon.
Yeah. So I'm pretty comfortable saying that we still did a kaiju movie.
So you're saying I could have drafted all these different Frankenstein movies during our kaiju draft?
That's exactly
and I didn't
right.
even think to do it? Oh my gosh.
Next time, kaiju draft 2.
There you go.
Kaiju draft Segundo.
Blue Demon, my favorite kaiju.
He is great.
So yeah, on behalf of George and Brantley, I'm Chris. This has been Dead Formats. If you have any questions about the show, or if you have a dead format topic that you'd like to hear me cover, or if you have any suggestions for potential guests, please reach out. You can email me at deadformatspod@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me on Instagram at deadformatspod. Thanks for listening.
It's alive!